If you want to be instantly famous on social media nowadays, sharing an interesting live video can be a great idea. Raw videos are often trending nowadays, they are not edited and mostly unscripted. Since the invention of film and TV, we've seen a lot of things happen in the world that we otherwise wouldn't get to see if no one was there to record it. And sometimes we can even watch as the craziest and most bizarre things unfold as it happens in real time. Get your popcorn ready because today we are listing down the top 10 craziest events caught on live TV. Before we continue to our list, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fascinating content and hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we upload new videos. Let's start. Number 10. The Fall of the Berlin Wall, 1989. It was on November 9th, 1989 when history was made. The 30-year-old Cold War between East and West Germany was finally put to an end, and the Berlin Wall, which served as both a symbol and physical divide between the two halves of Germany, was finally torn down. The people of East Germany gathered at the Berlin Wall after Günter Schabowski made an announcement at a press conference that the borders between East and West are no longer in effect. People were elated by this announcement, and the crowd from both sides gathered at the wall, some wanting to cross the border to be with their families, while others came just to celebrate, carrying champagne and playing music. Authorities were overwhelmed by the number of people gathering en masse, demanding to be let through at each checkpoint. On that night, there were no more capitalist West and communist East Germans. Armed with sledgehammers and chisels, people went over and started pounding and hacking at the Berlin Wall. This started an era of unification that made the entire Germany into one country. Number 9. Lee Harvey Oswald's murder, 1963. Accused of assassinating former President John F. Kennedy, Lee Harvey Oswald was shot dead in front of news cameras at around 12:20 p.m. on November 24, 1963. Oswald was brought to the basement of the Dallas Police Headquarters. With cameras rolling, the press crowded at the station, wanting to see him as he was being transferred to a county jail where he would be more secure. As Oswald stepped out, Jack Ruby suddenly emerged from the crowd, pulled out a .38 revolver, and fired one shot at Oswald, which killed him. At the trial, Ruby stated that it was rage brought on by the murder of Kennedy which caused him to kill the man. He ended up being charged for first-degree murder. Number 8. The World Series Earthquake, 1989. On October 17, 1989, the 86th World Series Game 3 between the American League champion Oakland Athletics and the National League champion San Francisco Giants was delayed. A magnitude 6.9 earthquake hit the San Francisco Bay when the San Andreas Fault reawakened just minutes before the start of the game, resulting in a total of almost $5 billion worth of damages. The Loma Prieta earthquake, tagged as one of the strongest earthquakes in the U.S., left huge damages in infrastructures. It lasted about 15 seconds, injuring 3,000 people and killing 67, which is a relatively small number considering that it was one of the most destructive earthquakes to ever hit the U.S. Number 7. Manila Hostage Crisis, 2010. Who could forget the nerve-wracking incident which claimed the lives of many and happened at the place symbolic for the Filipinos? The Manila Hostage Crisis, also known as the Rizal Park hostage-taking incident, took place on August 23, 2010. This happened in a park commemorating Philippines' national hero Dr. Jose Rizal, a place where people usually visit to relax and come to get a breath of fresh air. This horrifying incident involved former Philippine National Police Officer Rolando Mendoza, who hijacked a tour bus after being fired from the police force. A total of 9 dead bodies were recovered, one of which was Mendoza himself. All eyes were glued to this incident as it unfolded not just on live TV, but also on the internet. Number 6. The Waco Siege, 1993. On February 28, 1993, a standoff between law enforcement and the Branch Davidians sect was aired on American television. The leader of the cult, David Koresh, a self-proclaimed prophet, was illegally stockpiling firearms and ammunition. This alerted authorities, who immediately went to the commune in Waco, Texas, carrying a search warrant for the property, as well as an arrest for Koresh. When the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms attempted to serve the warrants, David and his followers opened fire, which resulted in an intense exchange of gunshots, leaving 4 government agents and 6 Branch Davidians dead. The FBI then initiated a tear gas attack on the Sex compound in the hopes of forcing the Davidians to come out of their ranch without causing any casualties. After a 51-day standoff, the FBI initiated a raid on April 19, 1993, and the Waco Siege was put to an end. This resulted in a total of 76 deaths, including 25 children, 2 pregnant women, and David Koresh. Number 5. The Los Angeles Riots, 1992. In 1992, the Los Angeles Riots began following a jury's decision to acquit 4 LAPD officers who were on trial for excessive use of force and brutality, beating a black construction worker, Rodney King, after he was caught driving while under the influence. The decision came even as the whole ordeal was filmed and broadcasted on TV. The African American community is already at odds with the justice system. The incident with King became the catalyst that led to America's biggest and most deadly civil disturbance. For 6 days, local TVs documented the entire situation. There were reported cases of fire, assault, and continuous raids as people protested the injustice to the African American community. The violence left more than 60 people dead. Among this toll, 10 were shot by law enforcement officials and 44 were reported homicides. Right now, it seems that we are seeing the same things happening in the US with the case of George Floyd. Number 4. Space Shuttle Challenger Disaster, 1986. On January 28, 1986, for the very first time, CNN provided an exclusive live broadcast of the Challenger's space launch. Audiences who were watching, both at the venue and through live TV, were horrified when the space shuttle, 73 seconds into the flight, suddenly exploded, killing all 7 crew members aboard, including teacher Christina McAuliffe, whose students were on hand to witness the event. Investigators later found out that the O-ring seals used on the shuttle were not strong enough to handle extremely low temperatures. Everyone tuned in to their TV sets and radios watched the horrifying sight of the space shuttle as it descended towards the Atlantic Ocean while it was being engulfed in thick smoke and flames. Number 3. September 11 Attacks, 2001. After the very first plane hit the World Trade Center in New York, press media were all eyes on the second building, recording live footage of the incident. The whole world watched as the harrowing incidents unfolded right before their eyes. As the second plane quickly approached the South Tower, cries from people around the center could already be heard. The impact of the second plane hitting the tower was totally unforgettable and undoubtedly heartbreaking. The tower slowly destabilized, collapsing into dust and rubble, leaving many stuck beneath the building. With a total of 3,000 fatalities, the coverage of the tragedy became the lengthiest continuous news event to be covered in American television history. The attack was later claimed by the Islamic group Al-Qaeda, who hijacked a total of 4 passenger planes on that day. The destruction of the World Trade Center also affected 10 other large surrounding structures in Lower Manhattan. The pursuit of the perpetuator led the U.S. to launch the War on Terror and to invade Afghanistan in search of the Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden. He was later captured and killed in Pakistan during a U.S. military raid. Number 2. Tohoku Earthquake and Tsunami, 2011. Following a 9.1 magnitude underseas earthquake off the coast of Japan, a tsunami was seen little by little destroying the land of the northeast coast of Japan on March 11, 2011. It was the most powerful earthquake ever recorded in the country, and the most dangerous one as well, as it had caused great damage to the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, flooding the power plant and causing hydrogen explosions. The nuclear power plant damages from the tsunami were extremely severe. It had eventually released radiation into the atmosphere, forcing the government to work on a larger evacuation zone around the plant, adjusting it to a 20-kilometer radius. Large amounts of water contaminated with radioactive isotopes were released into the Pacific Ocean, causing panic to its neighboring countries. The huge tsunami caused a total loss of $34.6 billion US, and left more than 10,000 dead and around 3,000 missing. This earthquake and tsunami have been tagged as the costliest natural disaster in history, as per the World Bank. Number 1. Munich Massacre, 1972. On September 5, 1972, a gruesome attack happened in broad daylight. The initial attack happened at around 4:30 a.m. during the Summer Olympics. 8 armed Palestinian terrorists, who called themselves Black September, stormed the Olympic Village, killed 2 athletes, and took 9 Israeli Olympics team members hostage. With hundreds of cameras rolling and aimed at the room they were in, they took advantage of the media coverage to broadcast their message. Shortly after the hostage-taking began, a Black September spokesperson demanded the release of their founders and 234 Palestinian prisoners being held in Israel. A massive shootout at the nearby Munich airport followed. Due to inadequate training as well as poor handling of the incident, all 9 hostages were murdered, along with a West German officer and 5 of the terrorists. A memorial was held to commemorate those who have died while the Olympics was suspended for 24 hours. Israel's Secret Service agency, Mossad, later hunted down and killed everyone who was responsible for the attack. There you have the 10 craziest events caught on live TV. Do you know of any other crazy events that should have been included on the list? Let us know in the comments section below. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to get notified about upcoming videos. See you in the next videos!